Well, it's January here in Maine. Thought I'd go for a little winter day hike with Hunter. He loves to walk in the woods, and so do I. What you doing, Hunter? There's my buddy. In the state of Maine and in much of the Northeast, we have a lot of birch trees in the woods. White birch, yellow birch, gray birch. And when you're wanting to get a fire started, it's probably one of the best materials to gather as you're hiking. It's called tinder fungus. There's even a really big piece of it right there at the base of this tree as well. How's this for a place to set up a camp? Huh? Want to build a fire here? I picked these two trees. They're pretty close together. I'm going to run a ridge line in between there. So you can see I've de-limbed both of these trees. And I have a camp axe, obviously, but these little Laplander folding saws are incredible. They weigh, I think, about 8 ounces. And I always clear everything off the trees above my head. You don't want to get out of a shelter at night and poke yourself in the eye. And then as you de-limb the trees, you know, just throw all your wood where you're going to make your fire. That way you've already got your wood pile started. Not a bad idea to leave one little sturdy limb and cut it off maybe 3 or 4 inches. And I've got it on the side of the tree that's going to face away from the shelter, so there wouldn't be any chance of getting up and walking into it. You can hang your bag over it and keep your stuff dry, and put your gloves over it, and everything stays off the ground. Well, here's a new product out by SOL, Survive Outdoors Longer. It's a new utility blanket, but unlike almost all of the other emergency blankets that you find, this one is actually rugged. It is advertised to be able to even be made into a stretcher and carry a body or carry firewood. It's very, very durable, and advertised to reflect 95% of your body heat if you were to use it in a blanket configuration. I have it set up in a way that would convect heat. If you were to put a fire in front of that, that would convect the heat all around your body. And a really nice product. Only weighs a little over 11 ounces. And I am carrying that in my day pack now. It's nice on a winter hike like this with Hunter to come out into the woods and set that up and build a fire and have a lunch. Hunter's enjoying the day out. He loves the woods as much as I do. As I showed you earlier, I kept all of the limbs in a pile. But when you're building a fire in the winter on cold ground, you've got to build it up on something dry. So I just took my Laplander saw, and there's a dead tree laying close by the shelter here, and just cut it, and I'll get the fire going now. But notice how that birch bark goes up. Birch bark is filled with a natural oil. And obviously this wood that I'm putting on the fire is dry. It's all the stuff that I cut off when I was building the shelter. So none of this has been laying on the winter ground, collecting moisture. Wood should make that, hear that snap. If it's not snapping like that, don't start your fire with it. You can put clean wood and even wet wood on a fire after a fire is built. But when you're starting a fire, take all this little pencil-sized dry stuff get your fire going with that. sun's starting to set. I'm going to keep working on this fire. Sit here and enjoy the setting of the sun in Maine with Hunter. Where are you at, Hunter? There he comes. There he is. There's my buddy. Come over here. There you go. But I'm still not putting anything on much bigger than the thickness of my thumb. Where a lot of people make mistakes in the winter is they'll get a fire going like this and they didn't put a base under it. And as soon as you start getting in the snow, it'll sink down into the snow and then it can go out really quick. It's hard to get it going again. Here's my buddy Hunter. Did you find any bear? Find any deer? Any coyotes? Squirrels? Huh? You're a good boy. Here's a simple little tip. A lot of people wait till too late in the day to get their camp set up and get their fire going. As you can see, of course, the camera magnifies it. It's not nearly as light as what it looks. The sun, as you can see, is set. But a lot of people end up doing this in the dark because they don't know how long it takes them to do the things that they need to do. You need to make sure you allow yourself plenty of time to set up your camp before dark. But here's the tip. A lot of people in the winter, they lay their stuff down while they're tending their fire. And if it's snowing, it wouldn't take but a few minutes to bury your lighter there or your tools in snow. And or even if it didn't snow, it gets dark and then you can't find them. And if you get caught in the woods in Maine in January, it's going to be below zero tonight, I think. But if you were to get caught out here at night without the ability to cut wood, without the ability to start fire. Hunter just heard the coyotes. Did you hear the coyotes, buddy? Yeah. It's my buddy right there. Yeah, he's a good boy. Now, if I were spending the night, I'd build that fire up obviously much larger than it is. You know, I've got a quick tripod that I've built to hang a pot on if I needed to melt snow for water. I've let the fire go down because I'm not spending the night. But you'd be amazed, sitting here, it's in the teens, and this reflector shelter right under me and behind me, I've actually still got a little sweat on my brow from just walking around the camp and gathering some firewood and keeping active. Coffee always tastes better in the woods when it's cold. Beautiful night out tonight. Thank God for life, health, and strength. I just got back from Costa Rica less than 24 hours ago. I was in the rainforest of Costa Rica in the 80s and 90s in rain and jungle steam. Back home in the woods of Maine in the winter. You about ready to go home, Hunter? Yeah. Come here, buddy. Come here. There he is. That's my buddy right there. That's my buddy right there. Yeah. He's a good boy. we're going to pack up and get out. Shelter has proved to be very, very warm. Folded up in that lean-to position with the fabric on the ground between you and the snow and a fire right in front of it. That's a nice way to stay warm. Cold temperatures. As I've mentioned, I think it's in the high teens. And I have been perfectly cozy. I just finished my coffee. And it's pretty well dark. I do have a flashlight. And I'm going to get a bearing on my compass. And get my flashlight. I'm going to clean this fire up and try to make it look as if I were never here. Fold that shelter up, take it down, take the ridge line down. That won't take but just a minute. Fold it up in my pack, get on my way.